Hey everyone, Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. We got a lot to cover in this massive part, to the continuation of What If Ash won the Kalos League. But before we get into that, we gotta thank the patron as always. So, Echo Velocity, thank you very much for your support over on Patreon. And as always, analytics are very important, so please don't forget to drop a like and a comment to help fuel the algorithm so the video can get to a larger audience. And if this is your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that way you'll never miss another upload from the channel. And if you want to consider supporting us even further, please consider becoming a channel member or a patron. You'll get exclusive access to things that I don't post on the channel, as well as early access to everything that I do. But with all that being said, let's get into What If Ash won the Kalos League, Part 2. I hope you enjoy. We begin today's episode as we follow Ash, Clemont, and Bonnie down Route 4, the warm Kalos sun shining overhead as they discuss Ash's upcoming gym challenge. Alexa told me that her sister is the gym leader in Santalune City, Ash says. That's where I'll start. Pikachu lets out a cry of its name, seconding its trainer's conviction. However, there's going to be one thing that stops them dead in their tracks, as the excitement has made Ash's stomach demand he stop and feed it with a loud grumble. As midday approaches, the group decides that it's time to stop for lunch, setting up near a cluster of trees. Clemont, ever the inventor, grins excitedly. You guys are in for a treat. My latest invention will whip us all up a delicious full-course meal. Ash's eyes sparkle. Science is so cool, he exclaims. Everyone then gathers around as Clemont's machine roars to life, only for it to sputter, spark, and explode in a puff of smoke, leaving the group singed and their stomachs growling. Disappointed, they slump down until Clemont remembers the fresh bag of Poke Puffs that he bought earlier before they had left Lumio City. I was saving these for the Pokemon, he admits, but we can all share. The mood lifts a bit about this revelation. As they pass the bag around, Bonnie happily feeds one to Pikachu, then gasps as a tiny DIDNT scurries up to her, drawn by the scent. Oh, you want one too, she giggles, offering a Poke Puff. DIDNT munches happily, but only for a moment, as a mischievous onlooker decides that it wants the treat for itself. In a flash of wings, a Fletchling swoops down, snatching the treat right from DIDNT's paws. The little electric type bursts into tears, and Froakie's eyes narrow. It doesn't like bullies, especially ones who pick on those that are weaker than them. Without hesitation, the frog jumps into action, with Ash on its heels, giving the water type a command. Froakie, use bubble! But Froakie hesitates, unsure on taking orders, before firing the attack. Fletchling dodges easily, retaliating with a quick attack, before using a double team to create dizzy after images. The bird Pokemon taunts them, then, adding insult to injury, snatches the entire bag of Pokepuffs, before flying off, leaving everyone, including Froakie, looking like complete incompetent fools. Bonnie and DIDNT burst into tears once again, and Froakie clenches its fists, frustration plastered across its face. Ash kneels beside it. I get it, he says gently. You're not used to working with someone else, but we're a team now. If we can't trust each other, we'll never get stronger. Froakie meets his gaze, remembering that it was the one who chose to travel with Ash. Maybe it's time to try things a different way. Determined, Ash rallies the group. We're getting those Pokepuffs back. They all nod with determination. With Froakie and Pikachu at his side, Ash charges into the woods, Clemont, Bonnie, and DIDNT, still sniffling, following close behind. They soon spot Fletchling, perched in a tree, smugly munching on their stolen snacks. Alright, round 2, Ash declares. This time, Froakie listens closely as Ash calls out commands, telling it to use a water pulse. Fletchling tries the same trick, peck, quick attack, double team, but now Froakie moves in sync with Ash's strategy. When Fletchling dives for another strike, Froakie leaps aside and fires Frubbles, gumming up the bird's wings mid-flight. Now, water pulse, Ash shouts. The attack lands true, knocking Fletchling out of the sky. Seeing this as a chance to add another member to his team, Ash tosses a Pokeball, and after 3 intense wobbles, click. Fletchling becomes his newest member. With the Pokepuffs recovered, Ash releases Fletchling, offering it a treat as it lands on his shoulder. No more stealing, okay? The bird Pokemon chirps in agreement, nibbling at the snack happily. As everyone finally enjoys their meal, DIDNT nuzzles Bonnie, refusing to leave her side. A loud, girly squeal echoes, causing everyone to think that something else had stolen Bonnie's Pokepuff. Turning, they are all met with Bonnie gushing over to DIDNT. Can we keep it, Clemont? Please, she begs. Clemont sighs, but smiles, capturing DIDNT for her. Just promise that you'll take good care of it. Bonnie squeals with joy, hugging her new friend. Ash tells Clemont that he's a great big brother. What can I say? It's hard to say no to her when it makes her so happy, as they continue to eat their meal. After the group finishes the meal, they continue down Route 4 on the road to Santalune City. The sun hangs high, casting a warm glow across the winding path that they are now traveling. This is where we find Serena, walking with a spring in her step, her heart fluttering with every thought of him, Ash Ketchum, the boy who saved her once. He has never left her mind since. She replays the memory over and over again, his outstretched hand, his bright smile, the way he made her feel brave. Lost in her daydream, she hums to herself, oblivious to the world around her, and so she doesn't notice the familiar trio passing by her in Ash, Clemont, and Bonnie. Bonnie, chatting and laughing as they're headed in the opposite direction towards Santalune City. The moment slips away like a breeze, and Serena continues on, her mind full of fantasies about the reunion. By the time she reaches Lumio City, her excitement is nearly uncontainable. As the towering Prism Tower gleams in the distance, she tells herself that she is here for her first Pokemon. Yeah, that's the story she's going to go with. After all, she did just turn 10 a few months ago, but her true intentions burn brighter. According to the news, Ash had been staying with Professor Sycamore at his lab. Her pulse quickens as she thinks about it. He's here. He's really here. With a newfound vigor, Serena rushes through the bustling streets. Minutes blur into seconds until she stands before the grand doors of the lab. Taking a deep breath, she pushes them open widely, only to walk in on a conversation already in progress. Inside the lab, Professor Sycamore holds a phone to his ears, his expression serious. On the other end is Grace, Serena's mother, her voice tight with worry. She's missing, Grace says. If she shows up there, just let me know. Don't say anything about talking with me. Sycamore nods, though Grace can't see it, and hangs up. However, the professor is immediately startled by a burst of energy as a fiery redheaded girl named Marin bounds into the lab. Marin is here for her first Pokemon, and her enthusiasm is infectious. Sycamore, momentarily caught off guard, guides her to the remaining starter Pokemon, Chespin and Finnegan. Marin's eyes sparkle as Chespin immediately matches her boundless energy. What do you say? You want to come with me to explore the region, Marin declares. Chespin enthusiastically agrees, eager to get out of the lab once and for all. With a delighted laugh, she chooses the grass type. Sycamore tells her that Chespin is a fine choice, as he hands her a Pokédex and a set of Pokéballs, already amused by her vibrant spirit. But then, the doors swing open again. This is at the moment that Serena steps in, breathless, her eyes scanning the room before landing on the professor. I'm here for my starter Pokemon, she announces, though her gaze keeps darting around, searching for someone else. Sycamore blinks in surprise. Another unexpected visitor today. The professor tries to introduce himself as if he hadn't already known that Serena was on her way, but the girl seems very distracted. Yeah, that's great and all, but where's my starter Pokemon, she says, not really paying attention. Well, there's only one left, the professor tells as he gestures towards Finnegan. The fox-like Pokemon tilts its head curiously at Serena, who barely reacts to the news. Instead, she fidgets, her cheeks flushing as she finally asks the question burning inside of her. I heard that the trainer who saved Garchomp at the Prism Tower was staying here. I wanted to meet him. Sycamore raises an eyebrow. You mean Ash? Serena's heart leaps at his name. Yes, that's him. Where is he? I want to meet the trainer that saved Garchomp. He left a few days ago, Sycamore says, causing Serena's stomach to drop. Last I heard, he was headed to Santalune City for a gym battle. Santalune City? Those words echo in Serena's mind like a thunderclap. That's the opposite direction. Wait, you're telling me that I walked right past him? Serena yells in disbelief. Her face then pales as realization crashes over her. She had been so lost in her thoughts that she missed him entirely. Then, in a flash, Serena comes back to reality. Thank you, she stammers, spinning on her heels to bolt out the door, but Sycamore calls right after her. Wait, you're a Pokemon. Serena freezes, turning back with eyes wide. Right, Finnegan, the Pokédex, the Pokéballs. In one frantic motion, the frazzled girl gathers them all up, barely pausing to thank the professor before dashing out, leaving Sycamore and Marin staring after her in bewilderment. Outside, the wind whips through Serena's hair as she clutches Finnegan close. We have to catch up to him, she murmurs, determination igniting in her chest once again as she disappears into the crowded streets of Lumio City. A few days later, we find our heroes on a warm afternoon in Santalune City as the sun bathes in the golden glow, while Ash, Bonnie, and Clemont step off the winding path of the route that leads into the city. The air buzzes with excitement. Ash can practically feel the energy of his first Kalos gym battle calling him. Spotting Alexa near the city's entrance, her camera slung over her shoulder, Ash waves enthusiastically. Alexa, over here, he calls. Jogging ahead with Pikachu perched on his shoulder, Alexa turns, her face lighting up in recognition. Ash, you made it. I was beginning to think that you wouldn't get here in time before my sister takes off on one of her extended trips. This worries the boy, and Ash wastes no time. So, can you take us to the gym? I'm ready for my first Kalos gym badge, he declares, fist clenched in determination. Alexa chuckles, rubbing the back of her neck. Well, about that. My sister Viola is the gym leader, but she's a bit of a free spirit. She sneaks out from time to photograph Pokemon, and she's not at the gym right at this moment. Ash's shoulders slump. Are you serious? Pikachu mirrors his disappointment with a dropping ear, but just as the disappointment starts to sink in, a cheerful voice rings out from behind them. Alexa, I'm back. A young woman with vibrant blonde hair and a camera in hand jogs towards the group, her eyes bright with curiosity. Ash whirls around, instantly invigorated. Are you Viola, the gym leader? He blurts out. Viola blinks, then grins. That's me, and you must be the trainer Alexa told me about. Alexa nods in confirmation, and Viola's smile widens. I like your energy. You're here for a battle, right? Ash, pumping his fist, says that he is. You bet. I'm gonna earn my first badge. Bonnie claps her hands together, bouncing excitedly. This is gonna be the first gym battle I've ever seen other than my Clemont's eyes widen, and he quickly clamps a hand over Bonnie's mouth, causing everyone to look at them. It's nothing, he says, a bit too loudly, his voice strained. We should, get going. Ash, too focused on the impending battle, doesn't seem to notice. Come on, Viola, Viola, let's hurry to the gym, he urges, already darting ahead. As soon as Ash turns away, Bonnie sinks her teeth into Clemont's hand, making him yelp and jerk back. Bonnie, what was that for? He hisses, rubbing his fingers. Bonnie plants her hands on her hips, glaring up at him. Why'd you do that? You're acting weird, the girl yells as Clemont crouches down, his voice dropping to a whisper. I'm sorry, but I'm not ready to tell them yet. Please, just don't say anything, okay? Bonnie studies him for a long moment before sighing. Fine. But don't ever cover my mouth again, or I'll bite harder next time. Before Clemont can respond, Ash's impatient shout cut through the air. Hey, you guys coming or what? We're gonna leave you behind. With a shared glance, Clemont and Bonnie hurry after the group, the mystery of Clemont's secret lingering in the air. But for now, the thrill of Ash's gym battle takes center stage. Moments later, we find our heroes in the Santalune gym as the air hums with anticipation, with Ash and Viola taking their positions across the battlefield from each other. The bug-type gym leader adjusts her camera with a confident smirk, while Ash clenches his fist, ready to prove himself. Viola tells Ash that this is going to be a 3-on-3 battle. Only he can use substitutions, and Alexa will be the referee, if Ash is alright with it. The boy nods, telling Viola that he has no problem with any of it. Smiling, Alexa signals the start of the 3-on-3 battle, and both trainers to send out their first Pokemon. The Pokeballs crack with a burst of light. Ash's Fletchling flutters into the air with a sharp cry, while Viola's Surskit skates effortlessly onto the battlefield. With Alexa waving to give the battle a start to begin, Surskit immediately takes control. At the command of Viola, an ice beam freezes the battlefield in a slick, glistening sheet, allowing it to glide effortlessly. Ash doesn't see how this will be a problem for Fletchling. Maintaining balance in the air, the icy terrain has no visible effect. Ash takes this as an invitation to start, commanding for a peck. Swooping in, Fletchling tries for the first damage of the battle, but this is where the ice battlefield comes into play as Surskit effortlessly glides to the side, evading the attack. However, Viola isn't done, and Surskit doesn't let up, spraying a sticky web across the arena. Thin, glistening strands cling to every surface, both high and low. At the command of its trainer, Fletchling darts forward with another peck, but Surskit protects itself with a barrier, blocking the attack effortlessly. Before Fletchling can react, Surskit retaliates with a bubble beam, the frothy projectiles slamming into the tiny bird and sending it spiraling towards the ground. Fletchling, pull up and use double team, Ash yells. Illusionary copies scatter across the gym. Then, Surskit's ice beam shatters through them, freezing Fletchling's wing and forcing it to pull up right into one of the sticky webs. This allows a free bubble beam to hit from Surskit. This sends Fletchling crashing to the ground, defeated, with spirals in its eyes. Ash recalls Fletchling with a frown. He could have done better, but he made the mistake of letting Viola set up. That's what allowed her to win so easily. Not wanting to dwell on it too much, Ash puts away Fletchling and pulls out another Pokeball. Froakie, I choose you, Ash yells. The frog Pokemon lands carefully, but the sticky web and the ice immediately hinders its movements, making every step sluggish. Viola is excited for the next battle, as Alexa calls for it to begin. Surskit skates circles around Froakie, launching another bubble beam, but the frog counters with the water pulse. The spiraling blast collides with the bubbles in midair. Taking advantage of the distraction, Froakie lunges with a quick attack at the command of Ash, but Surskit dodges effortlessly on the ice. Froakie, don't give up. Use bubble, Ash commands. The rapid fire pelts Surskit, finally knocking it back. This creates the opening that Ash was looking for. Quick, use pound, Ash yells. Froakie lands a direct hit, and Surskit collapses under the force, revealing the reason why Surskit is so fast, as it seems to have no defense to speak of. Viola smiles, unshaken, recalling her bug. Good effort, Ash, but it took 2 of your Pokemon to take out 1 of mine. However, Ash tells her that numbers aren't everything. Viola smirks. We'll see about that, she says, as she sends in her next Pokemon, Vivillon. The elegant butterfly Pokemon takes flight, its wings shimmering ominously. Alexa calls for the start of this battle, and before Froakie can react, Vivillon unleashes a powerful gust, the wind howling as it sends Froakie tumbling back into the sticky webs. Knowing that he needs to break the webs immediately, Ash recalls Froakie, switching it for Pikachu. The electric mouse sparks with confidence as the battle gets underway with it jumping onto the battlefield. Pikachu dashes forward with a quick attack, but Vivillon dodges gracefully and retaliates with a psychic, lifting Pikachu into the air before slamming it down into one of the webs, just as Froakie was just moments before. Pikachu struggles to break free, but the urgency is turned to 11 when Viola calls for a solar beam. As Pikachu struggles, Vivillon charges the energy, glowing brightly, but just as it fires, Pikachu uses a thunderbolt, disrupting the attack and zapping the bug. As Vivillon shakes off the shock and flaps its wings, Pikachu is able to break free. Viola sees things turning in Ash's favor, so she orders another gust that roars towards Pikachu. The wind hurls Pikachu back into the gym wall, but Ash calls for an Iron Tail to be used like a spring on the wall. Doing so, Pikachu launches itself back in Pavilion, crashing into the bug type mid-air, activating its static ability, paralyzing it in the process. Seizing the opportunity, Pikachu gathers electricity and hurls an Electro Ball, the crackling sphere exploding on impact. A plume of smoke envelops the area, only for Vivillon to plummet to the gym floor, unable to continue. Ash grins, confidence surging. He's got this. But Viola's expression doesn't waver. Recalling the bug, Viola asks Ash if he knows anything about Mega Evolution. Excitedly, Ash states that he saw it back in action in Lumiose. He's seen a few, but he would love to see more. With a smirk, Viola tells Ash to be careful what he wishes for, before pulling out her final Pokeball. With the call, Viola sends in her final choice, the bug known as Pinsir. Then, almost to say Ash asked for this, Viola holds up her Mega Ring, with a keystone embedded in the center of it, and her Pinsir begins to glow as it Mega evolves, its wings bursting forth its pincers gleaming with raw power. The battlefield seems to tremble as Mega Pinsir takes on its ultimate form. Ash smiles, knowing that this is going to be the strongest challenge that he's faced to date. It gets his blood boiling. Our hero then tells Pikachu to come on back. He wants to give Froakie a chance. As the frog pops back to the field, Ash tells it to be ready. This will be their first real battle with the Mega Evolution, so they have to work together. Froakie nods, but before Ash can react, Mega Pinsir blurs forward with a quick attack, almost as fast as Alexa announces the start of the battle. The enhanced strikes slamming into Froakie before it can even move. The impact sends Froakie flying, knocking it out instantly as it hits the gym wall. Ash's eyes widen in shock. Wait, there's no way Mega Evolution could be that powerful, he murmurs to himself. Viola chuckles, telling Ash that he's half right. Mega Evolution can change everything about a Pokemon, including their abilities. In Pinsir's case, its ability changes to Aerialite, making it so all normal moves are changed to Flying type, giving them a power boost from Pinsir's natural typing. This leaves Ash to ponder a lot as he recalls Froakie. With Pikachu as his last Pokemon, they have a lot of work to do to win this badge, but his mouth sparks. Pikachu is ready for the challenge. Alexa marks this as the final battle, telling the two to begin. Pikachu, use an Iron Tail, Ash commands, but Mega Pinsir dodges effortlessly and retaliates with Return, the full force blow fueled by Viola's bond with her Pokemon and Pinsir's Aerialite ability. Pikachu is sent skidding across the ice before slamming into one of the pillars that dot the battlefield, leaving it cratered. The mouse tries to shake off the cobwebs as it pries itself from the hole that it was just sent into. However, the damage that it took with that supercharged ability, combined with everything that it went through with Vivillon, is far too much, and Pikachu stumbles over before collapsing with spirals in its eyes. The gym falls silent as Ash stares at his fallen Pokemon, his earlier confidence shattered. He rushes to Pikachu's side, lifting it gently. "I'm sorry, buddy. It looks like today wasn't our day," he murmurs. From the sidelines, Bonnie and Clemont watch, stunned. Clemont frowns. This isn't the same determined Ash he had met in Lumiose. The loss weighs heavily, but perhaps for the first time, Ash is beginning to understand just how outclassed he is as a trainer. His normal tricks won't work against trainers that have this kind of power and skill. Standing up, Ash thanks Viola for the battle, before turning and walking out of the gym with his friends yelling at him in tow. "Well, it looks like another one bites the dust," Viola says. "It's a shame. He seemed to have so much potential." With Ash and his Pokemon left to lick their wounds from their defeat, the sun dips low over the winding paths of Route 4 as Serena sprints through the tall grass, her breath heavy as her heart pounds in her chest. Finnegan struggles to keep up, its small legs working double time, but Serena barely notices. Her mind is a whirlwind of panic and regret. He was right here, after all these years, after traveling so far. Ash had been feet from her, and on this very path, and yet she hadn't even realized until it was too late. Serena screams with her teeth gritted, but she won't miss him again. Serena then cuts through a path of dense foliage, desperate to shave off time, but a wild Pokemon lurking off the main path have other plans. A furious Pidgey dive bombs her, flapping its wings aggressively, forcing her to skid to a halt. "Fennekin, Amber, quick," she shouts, but her voice is tight with impatience. Sensing its trainer's urgency, the battle is over in seconds, but each wasted moment feels like an eternity to the girl. No sooner does Serena start running again than another obstacle appears. A young trainer, eyes gleaming with excitement, steps into her path. "Hey, you look strong. Battle me." Serena's fists clench. She doesn't have time for this, but refusing would take just as long, as this kid looks persistent. "Fine. Finnegan, let's make this fast." Her commands are sharp, and her movements are rushed. The battle is a blur, and though she wins easily, her anxiety only grows as Serena's impatience revealed that the trainer was less experienced than she was. However, the girl pays this no mind. Every delay feeds into the fear gnawing at her chest. What if she doesn't catch up? What if this is her only chance, slipping through her fingers like sand? 5 years. 5 years since that summer camp, since the boy who taught her bravery, who inspired her journey, vanished from her life. And now, just as quickly as he had reappeared, he could be gone again. Tears sting her eyes as she stumbles back onto the main road, the sunset now low in sight. Knowing that she is running out of time, Finnegan tugs at her leg, whimpering in concern, but Serena gazes fixed ahead, her determination burning through the panic. With days ahead of Serena until she catches up to the boy who she desires, we move over to Ash and his Pokemon the day after the gym battle. The weight of the loss hangs heavily on Ash's shoulders as he stands in an open field just outside of the Pokemon Center. Viola's reputation as a formidable bug specialist looms large, and Ash knows that he needs to be ready. A new strategy, a plan of attack. The only question is, what is it? With Pikachu sparking determinedly at his side, he turns to his friends, Bonnie, Clemont, and Alexa, who sit on the sidelines watching the boy. For Clemont, this moment is especially interesting as just the day before, Ash was a shadow of his former self, brought down by a crushing defeat in the battle that he was so confident that he would win. What happened? How did Ash turn back into the trainer that inspires people? It's like he flipped a switch. These questions and more run through the blonde-haired boy's mind, but Clemont's inner thoughts are interrupted when Ash states that he hopes the three of them are ready. Ready for what? Clemont questions. Realizing her brother isn't paying attention, Bonnie scolds Clemont. Ash is asking for our help to train. he needs a way to battle Viola, something that doesn't have to do with Mega Evolution. Cluing in to what his sister is saying, Clemont tells Ash that he should focus on the fundamentals. During the battle, Viola takes her time setting up for a victory. Ash questions what he means by this, to which Clemont states that Viola sets up the battle to give the Pokemon the best chance of success. The icy battlefield and the sticky webs make it hard for any non-bug Pokemon to function in the battle, and it'll make it difficult for you to actually cause any real damage. Ash knew that Viola was setting up, but he didn't know at first that that's what she was aiming for. So this time, he needs to be prepared, ready to battle under those conditions. Smirking, Alexa tells Clemont that he is the first one to ever see that his sister does that. Viola realizes bug Pokemon aren't strong, which was displayed when they were eventually hit, so her entire strategy is to make it sure that they don't get hit. Oh, like when Vivillon uses Gust, Ash says. Right. Its powerful wings are meant to take advantage of those sticky webs Surskit lays out. Hearing this, Ash immediately has a thought. Alexa, can you and Noivern help us out for training for that Gust? The reporter smirks. I figured you would have asked eventually. Alexa then steps forward, releasing her Noivern, only for it to let out a sharp cry as it flaps its powerful wings. Her sister's Vivillon is tricky because of the winds of Gust that it creates, she explains. Noivern can mimic that force. Your Pokemon need to learn how to stay steady. With the powerful beat of its wings, Noivern sends a torrent of air towards Ash and his team. Pikachu digs its claws into the ground, while Froakie braces himself, its webbed feet sliding slightly. Fletchling, however, gets knocked back, chirping in frustration. Ash grits his teeth. This is exactly why they need to train. Again, he calls out, "We gotta get used to this." This proceeds for several hours, which causes Clemont's brain to begin wandering. The boy then suddenly has a spark of genius and takes off, telling Ash and Alexa that he will be back in a little while, with Bonnie on his tail. Ash wonders where they're going, but we'll figure that out later. He still has training to do. So, that's what happens. And sure enough, hours pass as Ash and his Pokemon collapse from being subjugated to the high winds that Noivern can create. Breathing heavily, Alexa tells Ash that he's doing good, but there's still room for improvement. Ash knows, but to be honest, he feels like they need another way to train. He was hoping they could do other things, so that way they don't get locked into using the only things that they developed while training with Noivern. But that's when Clemont finally returns. Fear not, all things are possible thanks to science. Ash looks on, a bit tired, but more puzzled, causing Clemont to adjust his latest invention, a high-speed pitching machine designed to fire fastballs at rapid speeds. Pinsir's quick attack is no joke, the inventor says, tightening a few bolts. If your Pokemon can dodge these, they'll have a better reflex for the real thing. Suddenly, Ash sees what Clemont is talking about, and a sudden rush of energy envelops him and the three Pokemon beside him. Alright, Clemont, let's do it. But before they can test it, a mild electrical surge causes the machine to short circuit while Ash's stomach starts to growl, signaling that it's lunchtime. But that's not all, as everyone's stomachs growl. Realizing that they have been working hard, Alexa suggests that they take a break. They could all get back to training after lunch. Everyone agrees and begins to walk inside the Pokemon Center. Well, everyone except for Clemont. He tells them to go ahead. He's going to adjust the machine so that way when Ash comes back, it will be ready to deal him the most devastating fastballs the boy has ever seen. Ash nods as Bonnie follows him in, saying that she's going to get food and bring it back out to her brother. As the door slides behind his friends, Clemont rolls up his sleeves and gets back to work. An hour later, with a plate of half-eaten food, Clemont tightens the final bolt as everyone returns. Ash looks at his friend. So, is it ready, he questions? See for yourself, the boy says as he pushes the start button. The machine roars to life, launching balls in quick succession. Smiling, Ash says that it will be perfect. A little while later, we see Pikachu dart left and right, narrowly avoiding each one, while Froakie stumbles at first before finding his rhythm. Ash watches closely, analyzing their movements. Good, but we can do better, he encourages. Then, an idea strikes him. Froakie, use your Frubbles. The frog Pokemon leaps into action, flinging sticky foam at an incoming baseball. The moment the projectile hits the bubbles, it slows down drastically, giving Pikachu and Fletchling an easier time dodging. Ash grins. This could work against Viola's Surskit. Those speeds have been giving him trouble. Clemont smiles, feeling invigorated that one of his invention have finally helped someone. But this quickly changes with the look on Ash's face. Clemont quickly asks what's wrong. Is it the machine? Is it not fast enough? Ash shakes his head. It's not that. We seem to have trained in ways to help with every Pokemon, but there's still one looming problem larger than the rest. Mega Pinsir. Ash's expression darkens as he thinks about it. Mega Evolution turns Pinsir into an aerial powerhouse, its aerolite ability supercharging every attack into a devastating flying move. No matter how he strategizes, Ash can't figure out how to counter it. He then clenches his fist. I don't have a Mega Stone. How am I supposed to beat that? Alexa places a reassuring hand on his shoulder. That's why the Kalos League is considered one of the toughest, she says gently. Most trainers rely on Mega Evolution to keep up. Without one, winning even a single gym badge becomes a huge challenge. Ash looks down at Pikachu, who meets his gaze with unwavering determination. Then he straightens, fire burning in his eyes. I don't care if I don't have a Mega Evolution, he declares. I'm not going to depend on it just to win. I'll earn my badges my way. with my skill, my strategy, and the bond that I share with my Pokemon. Bonnie cheers, pumping her fists. That's the spirit. I'll help you too. While Clemont adjusts his glasses, smiling. Then let's keep training. There's still plenty of daylight to figure something out for Mega Pinsir. As the sun looms overhead, the group continues their intense training with the assistance of Alexa, Noivern, and Clemont's machine. The hours pass, and the group is beginning to see results. The timing of Froakie, Fletchling, and Ash are all improving, which is something that our hero always likes to see when he has a new team member to work with. His enthusiasm is infectious and has been the sole driving force between everyone and their willingness to continue, even though fatigue has begun to set in. However, this training has not gone unnoticed as the mysterious trainer, Alain, has happened by. While Ash normally wouldn't have caught his eye as Alain already battled him, the thing that does is that Froakie is with him. Curious, Alain lingers, just close enough to overhear Ash's words, something about fairness and trust in battle. The passion in Ash's voice is undeniable as Froakie hangs on every word. Alain feels a spark of interest, seeing how invested the frog is in Ash and his training. Wanting to see just how this has come to be, Alain steps forward, his presence immediately drawing the attention of Ash and Froakie. You've gotten a lot stronger since the last time we battled, Alain remarks, aimed at both of them. I'd like to see how much. How about a battle? But Ash's expression darkens. The memory of Alain's brutal handling of Garchomp is fresh in the boy's mind. You want to battle? Fine, Ash says, crossing his arms. But first, I want to know why you had Charmeleon choke out Garchomp like that. We could have helped without hurting it. This outburst catches all of Ash's friends off guard, but in particular, Froakie. It's surprised by Ash's anger, but the truth is that it hadn't thought about the situation and the way it was handled until now. Having a history with him, Froakie turns to Alain, invested in the answer that his would-be former trainer gives. The air between the two grows tense. Alain's jaw tightens, but instead of anger, there's something heavier in his gaze. Regret. You don't understand, he says quietly. There's more to it than you know. Ash frowns, but his curiosity wins out. Then explain it to me. Alain exhales, his posture loosening slightly. I studied Mega Evolution under Professor Sycamore for 5 years, he begins. Mega Evolution was our only focus. Its power. Its risks. When it's done right, it's incredible. A bond between humans and Pokemon that unlocks near godlike strength. His voice then hardens, but when it's done wrong, it's torture. Ash's eyes widen. Torture? What do you mean? Alain nods grimly. If a Pokemon Mega Evolves without a human partner to share the energy, the power overwhelms them. It burns through their body and mind, leaving them broken. Some never recover. He looks away, clenching his fist. That Garchomp was a friend and a victim of Sycamore's experiments. It was already in agony. Couldn't risk Garchomp losing itself to the power. Choking it out was the fastest way to stop the transformation before it was too late. The weight of Alain's words settles over Ash, and his anger fades, replaced by a dawning of understanding. He had no idea Mega Evolution could be so dangerous, so cruel when mishandled. Viola made it look so effortless. For a moment, he's silent, rethinking everything that he had knew. Then Ash responds, I get it now, but that doesn't mean that you needed to be so aggressive. There had to be another way to stop it without going to that extreme. Alain nods. Maybe, he says, but I would have rather done that than risk the alternative. It was the lesser of two evils. The more time we spent just looking around, trying to figure things out, the more time that Garchomp was running out of. Our hero reflects on this, but then, almost as if Ash had never had a problem with Alain to begin with, he perks right up. If that's the case, then I want to battle you even more. You meant well, which means you're not a bad person, just faced with a tough decision. Next time, let's make sure we work together to save Pokemon, Ash says. A faint smirk tugs at Alain's lips. 3-on-3, he questions. You're on, Ash responds. The two trainers then step back, their Pokemon ready for the single elimination battle, while Alexa, Bonnie, and Clemont all watch on in surprise that Ash would even want to battle after all the training that he has done today. However, the tension in the air is thick, and the battlefield crackles with energy of excitement as Ash's Pikachu takes the field, looking to be the first choice of our hero. Alain locks eyes with the two of them, while pulling out a Pokeball from his belt. He wastes no time in calling on his first choice, the first stage Rock-type Larvitar. Ash's friends all watch in anticipation as he makes the first attack. Without hesitation, Pikachu's cheeks spark to life, and with a fierce cry, it unleashes a sizzling thunderbolt, but Alain simply smirks. Now, Larvitar, Sandstorm, he commands. In an instant, Larvitar summons a swirling tempest of sand around itself, the defense particles disrupting the Thunderbolt's path, scattering its power harmlessly into the air. Bonnie comments that Thunderbolt shouldn't have affected Larvitar, right? But Clement thinks that there's more to it than that. Ash could have been curious to how Alain would react, so he decided that that was going to be the move that he used to see which would be the next one. This forces the two to get quiet, as the curiosity takes them over, wanting to see what their friend's next move is going to be. However, Ash grits his teeth, realizing Alain's strategy. Larvitar's Sandstorm isn't just an offensive tool, it's a defensive shield against electric attacks as well as others. counters. Fine, if we can't shock you, we'll hit you with a head-on attack, Ash shouts. Pikachu, use quick attack. Like a yellow blur, the mouse darts forward, slamming into Larvitar before it can react. The little rock type stumbles, but quickly regains its footing. Alain counters swiftly. You stomp! Larvitar's foot crashes down, but Pikachu leaps back just in time, the ground trembling from the impact. Not letting up, Ash presses forward. Now use Iron Tail, Pikachu. The mouse's tail gleams metallic as it spins mid-air, swinging hard towards Larvitar. Alain counters with the Rock Slide. Larvitar hurls a barrage of stones upward, but Pikachu's speed is too much. It weaves through the falling debris, its Iron Tails connecting with a resounding clang. Larvitar staggers, but retaliates with a chip away, its claws swiping wildly. Pikachu takes a glancing hit, but shakes it off, already darting back into position. The sandstorm still rages, but Ash knows Pikachu can't afford to drag this out, as it's slowly being chipped away at it. One more Iron Tail, full power, he commands. Pikachu rockets forward, its tail shining brighter than before. Alain tries to block. Rock Slide again, he yells, but this time, Pikachu is even faster, flipping over the incoming rocks and bringing the tail down hard on Larvitar's head. The force sends Larvitar crashing into the ground, the sandstorm dissipating as it struggles to rise, then collapses from defeat. Both Bonnie and Clemont erupt as Pikachu leaps back to Ash's side, panting but triumphant. Alain recalls Larvitar with a nod of respect. You adapted well, he admits. Ash grins. That's what battling is all about. Alain smirks, knowing that this was just a warm-up, and Ash used his best Pokemon, so things are only going to get more interesting from here, as he sends out his second choice, an electric type of his own, Flaffy. However, Ash's next choice is going to throw Alain for a loop, as Fletchling flutters eagerly from its ball. Across from it, Alain's Flaffy stands firm, its wool coat crackling with static electricity. With a sharp cry, Ash commands the first move. Fletchling, use Peck. The small bird Pokemon darts forward, its beak gleaming as it aims straight for Flaffy, but the moment Fletchling makes contact, a jolt of electricity surges through its body. Static has been activated. Fletchling screeches mid-flight, its muscles locking as paralysis takes hold. Seizing the advantage, Alain smirks and points. Now Flaffy, Electro Ball. Sparks gather between Flaffy's paws before launching a devastating orb of electricity. The attack slams into the paralyzed Fletchling, sending it spiraling through the air with a cry of pain. It barely manages to right itself, wings trembling from the paralysis and the sheer force of the super effective hit. Ash grits his teeth. Shake it off, Fletchling. Use Double Team. The bird flaps desperately, creating afterimages of itself to confuse Flaffy. The tactic works, causing Flaffy to hesitate, unsure which target to strike, but Alain is undeterred. Signal Beam. Take out the copies. Flaffy's antenna glows before firing a swirling beam of light, obliterating the illusions one by one, until the real Fletchling is exposed. Now, Thundershock, Alain commands. A bolt of electricity strikes towards Fletchling, but Ash reacts quickly. Dodge and hit back with Quick Attack. Despite his paralysis, Fletchling pushes through the pain, zipping low to evade the shock before slamming into Flaffy at blinding speed. The impact makes Flaffy stumble, but it quickly regains its footing, glaring at its weakened opponent. The battle has taken its toll. Fletchling breathes heavily, its movements sluggish. Alain sees the opening. End this with a takedown. Flaffy charges, its body glowing in a raw power. Ash clenches his fist, shouting, Fletchling, don't give up. We can do this. In this moment, a bright white light erupts around Fletchling. The tiny bird's form grows larger, its wingspan expanding as it transforms into the second stage, Fletchinder. Flaffy's takedown connects, slamming hard into the newly evolved Pokemon. But as it does, Flaffy jerks back with a pained cry. In an ironic twist of fate, the evolution of Ash's bird has reciprocated the contact of their first encounter with its evolution. Fletchinder's ability has changed to the fire version of static, known as Flame Body, causing a burn on Flaffy. For a heartbeat, it seems like the tide might turn. The burn could cripple Flaffy over time, but the sheer force of the takedown was too much. Fletchinder staggers, its flames flickering weakly before it collapses, unable to continue. The burn lingers on Flaffy, but the battle is already over. Fletchinder is unable to continue, Flexa declares. Flaffy wins. Alain nods in satisfaction as Flaffy endures the burning sting, while Ash recalls his fallen Pokemon with a proud smile. You were amazing, Fletchling. No, Fletchinder. We may not have won this one, but we'll get stronger together, and eventually it'll happen. With the battle now tied at one apiece, both Ash and Alain prepare their final choices. Two Pokemon that have a storied history thanks to Alain. Without hesitation, Ash calls upon Froakie. This Pokemon was the reason Alain wanted this battle, partly to see why Froakie chose Ash, and partly to see if he had made the right choice when he left Professor Sycamore's lab with Charmeleon. So in order to find out this answer, Alain wastes no time calling for Charmeleon. The sun blazes overhead as Ash and Alain face off, their Pokemon poised for battle. Froakie crouches low, eyes sharp, while Charmeleon flickers its tail flame, smoke curling from its jaws. Ash shouts, Alright Froakie, start things off with the Quick Attack. In a streak of blue, Froakie shoots forward, slamming into Charmeleon before it can react. The fire lizard slides back, almost as if Alain and it were inviting the blow out of curiosity, but Charmeleon quickly steadies itself. Alain smirks and counters. Not bad, but let's see how you handle this. Metal Claw. The fire lizard's claws glint as it slashes, forcing Froakie to flip backwards. Ash clenches his fist and commands, Now pound! Froakie lunges, striking Charmeleon hard, but the fire type shakes it off with a growl, firing back with a flamethrower. A searing jet of fire roars towards Froakie, who barely manages to leap aside. Alain watches closely. Froakie moves with a fierce determination he hadn't seen since their days at Professor Sycamore's lab. There's something different about how it fights alongside Ash, like it truly believes in him. For just a second, Alain hesitates, and Ash seizes the moment, shouting, "Now, water pulse!" Froakie launches a spiraling blast of water that crashes into Charmeleon with full force, centering the fire type stumbling, its flames flickering weakly. This snaps Alain from his brief moment of reflection, only for the battle to have been abruptly come to an end when an attack comes from the sidelines, striking both Froakie and Charmeleon. Turning their gaze, everyone sees three figures in striking red uniforms burst from the trees that line the side of the battle area, shouting, "Now, take them down!" to their Pokemon. Houndour, Sneasel, and Skorupi in a coordinated assault. Ash steps protectively in front of Froakie, demanding, "What the? Who are you?" The lead grunt sneers, but they say nothing, only commanding more attacks on the two trainers. This causes Alain's eyes to darken as he warns, "You're outnumbered. Back off." The grunts scoff and orders his Houndour to attack with a Dark Pulse, while the others command Ice Shard and Poison Stings. Froakie pushes Ash out of the way, barely dodging Sneasel's icy shards as Charmeleon's roar from the Poison Sting grazing its side. Seeing that his friends are in trouble and wondering why they are here attacking Ash and Alain, Clemont rushes forward, throwing a Pokeball and shouting, "Bunnelby, we need your help." This manages to even things out a bit, allowing Charmeleon and Froakie the chance to focus on one Pokemon at a time. Though there is a problem. Due to their battle, both are feeling drained, especially Froakie, who has been training all day. This means that the two starters are beginning to move slow, Froakie more than its fire counterpart. But just as the battle seems hopeless, both Froakie and Charmeleon suddenly power up. Charmeleon's body erupts in flames from its blaze ability, while water energy swirls around Froakie as Torrent activates. Alain and Ash exchange a glance before simultaneously commanding a Fire Fang and a Water Pulse. Charmeleon's blazing fangs crunch down on Skorupi, while Froakie pelts Sneasel with a rapid shot of water. Bunnelby follows up with a swift strike that knocks Houndour back. Just as the tide turns, the grunt's strange device begins to beep wildly. Then, in another strange occurrence, they recall all of their Pokemon and vanish back into the trees, leaving behind only unanswered questions. This leaves everyone completely stumped, but there's another thing that needs their attention. Everyone needs medical attention, as Charmeleon is hunched over, breathing hard, while Froakie has collapsed from fatigue. Without hesitation, everyone recalls their Pokemon, racing off to see Nurse Joy. At the Pokemon Center later, Nurse Joy assures everyone that their Pokemon will recover. Alain leans against a wall, arms crossed, deep in thought. This is when Ash breaks the silence. "Hey Alain, do you know who those guys were that attacked us?" Focusing on the moment, Alain states that he doesn't, but if they attacked them, then who else have they tried to attack? We don't even know what they attacked for. This puts a look of worry on Ash's face, having flashbacks to Team Rocket and their obsession with Pikachu over his past travels. Seeing this, Alain changes the subject and asks Ash skeptically, "You're really planning to challenge the gyms without a Mega Evolution?" Ash grins and declares, "Yeah, I don't need one to be strong." Alain shakes his head and admits Ash is a bit crazy, but I guess that's what makes you interesting. Our hero then questions Alain where he's going to be heading to next. Alain states that he's going to be heading south. There are some ruins in the mountains that he wants to check out. There's a rumor that Megastones have been found there in the past, so I figured I would check it out. Smiling, Ash tells him that when they see each other again, that they're going to have another battle, and next time, he's going to win. Alain smirks. "Sure, kid," he says, as Nurse Joy calls them to come pick up their Pokemon. As Alain leaves to investigate the ruins south of Santalune, Ash turns to Clemont, who asks if they should resume training. Stretching with a smile, Ash decides, "Nah, tomorrow's my gym rematch. Tonight, we eat and rest." This catches Clemont a bit off guard, but he doesn't fight Ash on this, as he has more pressing things that are going through his mind, as he needs to find out why those three were sent here. Were they here for me, he thinks to himself? But this is something that the boy will have to dwell on later, as Ash, Bonnie, and Alexa call him to come eat. It's been a long day, and Ash is starving. Clemont runs to join his friends, his thoughts shifting between them and the past they know nothing about. The next morning, we shift over to the gym, finding Ash standing in the same spot they had found defeat in only days before. The battlefield hums with anticipation as Ash and Viola lock eyes, both trainers ready to prove their skill once more. With a confident grin, Ash sends out Froakie, the nimble water type landing lightly on the field. Viola responds by releasing Surskit once more, seemingly going with the same strategy that she had last time they faced off. Alexa announces the terms of this battle, having given the signal to start. Viola wastes no time. Surskit, Ice Beam, turn the battlefield into our stage. Surskit's antennae glow, a chilling blue, before releasing a frigid beam across the ground. The floor crackles and hardens, transforming into a slick, glistening ice rink, just like before. However, Ash doesn't seem to react, allowing Viola to set up, which strikes Clemont as odd, as well as Alexa. "Now, use Sticky Whip," Viola commands. Surskit sprays a mesh of sticky silk strands across the ice, creating a treacherous net meant to slow any opponent that dares to move recklessly. Ash smirks, thinking that this is just like Viola's first battle strategy, but he won't fall for it again. again. Froakie, use your frubbles to grip the ice. The frog nods, summoning a cluster of sticky bubbles and pressing them against the soles of its feet, like makeshift ice cleats. Now anchored, Froakie darts forward with quick attack, closing the distance in a blur. Seeing why Ash took his time, Viola smirks. Surskit, slide away. The bug type glides effortlessly across the ice, evading Froakie's strike. Now bubble beam, Viola commands. A rapid volley of pressurized bubbles shoot towards the frog, but Ash is ready. Water pulse, counter it. Froakie forms a swirling orb of water and hurls it forward, the two attacks colliding in a splashy explosion. Ash sees an opening. Pound, now! Froakie leaps, fist glowing as it swings down, but Viola snaps her fingers. Protect. Surskit absorbs the blow harmlessly. Realizing the ice is giving Viola too much control, Ash makes the quick decision. Froakie, one more trick. Pad Surskit's feet with the frubbles. The frog flings a burst of sticky bubbles at Surskit underside, slowing it down and getting rid of its slippery advantage. But now, Ash isn't done. Alright, return, he calls to Froakie in a flash of red light. Pikachu, you're up. The electric mouse jumps into action with sparks from its cheeks, its tiny claws giving him natural traction on the ice. Viola's eyes widen. She didn't expect this switch so early, so she orders Surskit to move. But the frubbles are doing exactly what Ash wanted, locking Surskit into place. So Viola switches to long range attacks. Surskit bubble beam, but Pikachu is already on the move, its high speed unmatched. Dodge and use electric ball. Pikachu zigzags across the ice, avoiding the bubbles before gathering electricity into a sphere on the tip of its tail. With the powerful toss, the supercharged electric ball slams into Surskit as it is unable to move, sending it into the webs that it had set up, allowing the webs to prevent it from moving and amplifying the effects of the electric attack. Once the electricity dissipates, Surskit is smoldering in the webs, unable to battle with spirals in its eyes. Bonnie and Clement erupt as Ash pumps his fist. Alright, first win goes to us. Viola recalls Surskit with a nod of respect. Well played, Ash. Much better than last time. But the battle isn't over yet. Both trainers brace for the next round, the ice battlefield glinting under the lights. The real challenge has only just begun. Ash tells Pikachu to come back as he prepares for the second battle. But the tension is only just beginning, with our boy sending Froakie back out to face Viola's second choice, Pavilion. With Alexa calling to start this next battle, Ash takes the first attack. Froakie springs into action immediately, using a powerful leap to get high in the air, attempting to pressure Pavilion from above. However, the wings of the bug flare wide. With a swift gust, it sends the powerful blast of wind downward, knocking Froakie off course. Undeterred, the frog tries again, darting forward with quick attack to close the distance, but Pavilion remains elusive, fluttering just out of reach. However, Ash refuses to let up, telling Froakie to fire a water pulse, but Pavilion dodges gracefully, retaliating with a psychic, trapping the small frog in an invisible force. Viola smiles, ordering Pavilion to finish it. The attack hurls Froakie into one of the sticky webs strung across the gym, leaving it immobilized. Before Froakie can break free, Pavilion strikes again with another psychic, knocking it out cold. Ash grits his teeth, not expecting it to be over so fast, but this could have been Viola's way of saying that not all of her Pokemon are going to go down as easy as Surskit did. However, our hero quickly spots an opportunity. Pavilion's reliance on aerial dominance could be its downfall. With a determined shout, Ash sends out Fletchling once he recalls Froakie, its wings glowing with a fiery energy. The battle shifts into a high-speed aerial duel as Fletchling dashes forward with quick attack, forcing Pavilion onto the defensive. Viola commands for it to keep up the distance with a gust, but Fletchling weaves through the turbulent winds, closing with a double team, creating multiple illusions to confuse its opponent. Pavilion falters for just a moment, long enough for Fletchling to dive in with the peck, scoring a solid hit and forcing Pavilion into the sticky webs that were hanging from just above. Sensing the momentum shift, Ash recalls Fletchling before Pavilion can counter, switching to Pikachu for the final strike. Viola's bug type struggles now. Its wings are heavy, weighed down with the sticky webs from earlier, making its movement sluggish. Ash seizes the advantage. Pikachu, use your tail like a spring. The electric mouse crouches low, and then launches itself skyward with an iron tail. The mouse soars higher as Pavilion can't evade in its hindered state. Now, Thunderbolt, full power. Pikachu unleashes a bolt of electricity that strikes Pavilion head on. The attack sends the bug type spiraling to the ground, wings twitching faintly before it finally stills, unable to battle. Viola recalls her fallen bug with a sigh, acknowledging Ash's clever strategy. She knows that things are finally getting to the point that she can really start having fun, a gleam from her keystone catching her eye in this moment. Seeing that Viola is now getting serious, Ash decides that it's time for the final stage of his plan. Pikachu, come back, he calls. The tension in the Santalune gym crackles like static electricity as Viola finally sends out her last Pokemon, Pinsir. Without hesitation, she raises her Mega Bracelet, and in a brilliant flash of light, Pinsir undergoes Mega Evolution once again, its wings expanding and its body radiating with raw power. Mega Pinsir looms over the battlefield, its aerialate ability humming ominously. Viola smirks, crossing her arms. Alright, Ash, she challenges. Let's see how you can handle this. However, our hero doesn't flinch. Instead, he calls on Fletchling to start this final leg of the battle. The fiery bird flaps its wings, determination burning in its eyes. We're not backing down. Smirking, Viola states that she wouldn't have it any other way. With Alexa calling for the start of this battle, Ash commands to use a double team. Fletchling blurs, multiplying itself into after images, confusing Mega Pinsir. Viola scoffs, however. Clever, but not enough. Pinsir, quick attack. The Mega lunges like a bolt of lightning, slamming itself into the real Fletchling before it can react. The impact sends the bird shifting upward, but Ash grits his teeth. Now peck. Fletchling dives, jabbing its beak into Pinsir's armored hide. The attack barely phases the Mega Evolution, and Viola counters immediately. Return. Mega Pinsir's body glows, smashing into Fletchling, knocking it backwards. Ash's fists clench. Hang in there. Just a little bit more. Use quick attack. Fletchling darts forward, but Pinsir intercepts with another devastating quick attack of its own. The collision sends Fletchling crashing to the ground. Fainted, but not before a smirk appears on Ash's face. Strange that you enjoy losing a Pokemon that quick, Viola says, but she notices Ash isn't looking at Fletchling, but up at Pinsir. Turning her gaze, Viola sees why Ash is smirking. Flame Body triggered, searing Pinsir's exoskeleton with a scorching burn. Viola's confident smirk falters as Mega Pinsir roars in pain, its attack power dropping sharply. Ash recalls Fletchling with a grateful nod. You did great. Thanks for hanging in there long enough to give our victory a chance. Putting the ball back on his belt, Ash turns to his starter. Pikachu, finish this. His trusty partner leaps onto the battlefield, sparks flickering from its cheeks, but its breathing is heavy. The battle has taken a toll on both sides. Pikachu had taken out the last two Pokemon, and it still had backup, but now, this time, it's all down to the electric mouse. But like its trainer, Pikachu refuses to walk away after all of the training that they went through. Viola studies Ash, intrigued. So you banked everything on that burn? Risky move. Ash meets her gaze. I don't have Mega Evolution, so I had to think differently. Well, I will say that I'm surprised. You're the first trainer that I've faced who took that approach. Let's see if it's going to be enough. Smiling, Ash takes the first move. Iron Tail, Ash commands. Pikachu's tail gleams silver as it clashes with Mega Pinsir's weakened X-Scissor. The attack collides in a shower of sparks, neither giving ground. The burn continues to sap Pinsir's strength, and Viola realizes that she can't drag this out. In a last-ditch effort, she orders a close combat, desperation creeping into her voice. Ash's eyes flash. Now Pikachu, full power. Use Iron Tail to block. Then Electro Ball. Pikachu dashes forward, its tail swinging like a shield, deflecting Pinsir's furious blows, one after another. A final punch slips through, smashing into Pikachu's side, but with a defiant cry, it unleashes the Electro Ball that it had been charging at point blank. The orb of crackling electricity explodes against Mega Pinsir's chest, sending both Pokemon flying from the explosion. Then, silence for what seems like an eternity. The dust settles as Mega Pinsir's form reverts, its wings shrinking back. It doesn't move. Pikachu, battered and beaten, wobbles, then forces itself upright, its ears twitching, in exhaustion but triumph. Alexa's voice rings out. Pinsir is unable to battle. The winner is Ash Ketchum. Ash pumps his fist, rushing to scoop up Pikachu. We did it, buddy. Viola approaches, smiling as she holds out the bug badge. A well-earned victory. You and your Pokemon have incredible spirit. You realize the weakness in my bugs. Not a lot of defense makes it hard to battle intensely. So that's what I created my battle style around, but you were able to navigate your way through it. You have truly earned this. Ash grins, accepting the badge, his first in Kalos. But then, the gym doors burst open, calling attention of everyone to the front. All eyes snap to see Serena, who stands frozen in the doorway, her chest heaving. The gym falls silent, confusion rippling through the crowd. Ash blinks. Do you know her? He questions to Viola. Serena's face burns, her heart pounding so loudly she's sure everyone can hear it. For a moment, she can't speak, can't even breathe. All she can do is stare at the boy who has lived in every corner of her mind for the last 5 years. Ash's battle may be over, but his adventure is just beginning. With Ash and Serena about to have their first awkward meeting, the scene dramatically shifts to a dim, pulsating glow of a holographic screen that casts eerie shadows across the darkened chambers of Prison Tower as the three flare grunts kneel before their superiors. The air hums with tension as they relay their findings, their voices tight with urgency. Before them, Lysander stands tall, his piercing gaze fixed on the battle recordings flickering across the screen. Beside him, Zerzik adjusts his glasses, his fingers dancing across a datapad as he analyzes the footage with critical precision. The recordings show two trainers, Ash and Alain, locked in a fierce battle, their Pokemon unleashing devastating attacks that send shockwaves through the air. The sheer power on display makes Zerzik's lips curl in a fascinated smirk. The energy readings from these two are astounding, he murmurs, his voice laced with intrigue. The raw force, it's unlike anything we've ever recorded. Perfect for Mega Evolution. Lysander's eyes gleam as he watches Ash's Froakie clash with Alain's Charmeleon, the shockwaves of their collision rippling through the screen. Then the footage shifts. Ash and Alain, once rivals, now stand side by side, battling against Team Flare's forces with unshakable resolve. The grunts appeared to be no match for them. Their forces crumbled under the force of the elemental abilities that had activated during the battle with Ash and Alain. These two are extraordinary trainers, Zerzik states. It seems, Lysander muses, his voice smooth yet edged with dark intent, we may have found the ones we've been searching for. His fingers curl into a fist, his mind already racing with possibilities. If these trainers could generate such power, then perhaps, just perhaps, they could be the key to my grand design. Zerzik nods in agreement. The data doesn't lie. Their potential is undeniable. A slow, sinister smile spreads across Lysander's face, his amber eyes burning with ambition. Tell me, he commands, his voice a low, dangerous purr. Where the one called Alain is headed next. The lead grunt swallows hard before answering. Our scouts report he is traveling south from Santalune. His projected path puts him landing in the ruins that are to the south in less than a day's time. Lysander's grin widens. Perfect. The game has just begun. And this is where we are going to leave things for now. So tell me, how did you feel about this part? How do you feel about the direction that's taking with Ash in this rewrite of the Kalos League? Do you enjoy the strides that I've made with this team and the brief and slight changes that I've made with having Fletchhinder evolve much earlier than what it did in the actual canonical anime? And how did you enjoy the fact that I am starting to give every gym leader their own Mega Evolution? Do you think that it's something that the anime should have done in the beginning? And how about the fact that Alain and Ash have begun to form somewhat of a rivalry this early on compared to the main canon? Do you think it's going to be better, or do you think it's going to be worse for the story overall? And let's not forget that ever-looming question of what is Clemont's relation with Team Flare, and why was he so surprised that they had shown up? More importantly, how did he know who they were? Let me know what your guys' thoughts, comments, and theories are down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.